The story of humanity has always been about curiosity, survival, and progress. As we step into the next 100 years, the question that arises in every mind is simple yet deeply complex. What will happen in the future of our world? People wonder how technology, science, politics, and the environment will shape our lives, our families, and our very existence on this planet. The next century promises to be unlike any other. In fact, the pace of change has already accelerated so dramatically that the world of 2125 will be almost unrecognizable compared to the world we see today. The seeds of that future are already being planted now, in our laboratories, in our governments, in our industries, and even in the digital spaces of the internet. The first major force that will define the coming century is technology. In just the last 2 decades, humanity has seen the rise of artificial intelligence, automation, the internet revolution, and robotics. But what is coming in the next 100 years will be far greater. Artificial intelligence will evolve from being a helpful tool to becoming a full-fledged partner in human civilization. Machines will no longer just answer questions or perform calculations. They will begin to think, reason, and make decisions at levels beyond human imagination. The possibility of artificial general intelligence will mean that a single machine could surpass the intelligence of all humans combined. With such power, AI will transform every industry. From medicine to engineering, from law to education, AI will take over the majority of human jobs. This will create fear and uncertainty, but it will also free humanity from repetitive labor, giving people the chance to focus on creativity, exploration, and higher purposes. But this shift will not be without conflict. Governments will face pressure to control these intelligent machines. Some nations will weaponize AI, creating autonomous war drones and cyber armies. Others will use it for surveillance, monitoring every step of their citizens. The balance between freedom and control will become the most heated debate of the 21st century. Societies may split into 2 categories: those who embrace a fully automated lifestyle, and those who resist, fearing the loss of human identity. The gap between these groups will create new tensions and perhaps even civil unrest in many parts of the world. At the same time, human life itself will undergo a profound transformation. The science of genetics is already advancing, with technologies like CRISPR, allowing scientists to edit DNA. In the next 100 years, parents may choose the traits of their children: intelligence, height, beauty, even emotional stability. The ethical debates of today will seem small compared to the reality of a world where human beings can be designed like machines. This could mean the end of many genetic diseases, but it could also lead to a dangerous new inequality: the rich designing perfect offspring while the poor remain vulnerable. The question of what it means to be human will never be more urgent. In the field of medicine, the breakthroughs will be breathtaking. Aging itself will be treated as a disease, not as an unchangeable reality. Scientists predict that by the middle of the 21st century, humans may have the ability to slow down or even reverse the aging process. This will not mean immortality, but it will extend lifespans by decades, perhaps even centuries. Imagine a world where people live to 150 or 200 years, healthy and strong. The implications are staggering. Economies, retirement systems, and the structure of families will all change. Entire generations will live together in ways we have never seen before. But with longer lives will also come new challenges, such as overpopulation and a struggle for resources. The environment will remain a critical question mark in this future. Climate change has already shown its devastating effects, with rising sea levels, wildfires, hurricanes, and extreme weather patterns. The next century will decide whether humanity survives or collapses under the weight of its own environmental negligence. If carbon emissions are not controlled, vast regions of the Earth may become uninhabitable. Coastal cities like New York, Mumbai, and Shanghai could be swallowed by the sea. Entire nations may disappear beneath the waves, creating millions of climate refugees. Food shortages, water scarcity, and mass migrations may trigger global instability unlike anything in history. However, there is also hope. Renewable energy technologies such as solar, wind, and nuclear fusion will likely dominate the global energy landscape within the next 50 years. Fusion, in particular, promises nearly limitless clean energy, ending humanity's dependence on fossil fuels. If successful, this could save the planet from climate disaster. In addition, agriculture will undergo its own revolution. Vertical farms inside skyscrapers, lab-grown meat, and genetically modified crops will feed billions without the need for massive land use. Cities themselves will become green, with forests growing on rooftops and algae-based air purification systems cleaning the atmosphere. But the future is not just about Earth. Space will become the next frontier. Already, private companies are planning missions to Mars and the Moon. Within a century, humanity could establish colonies on other planets. Mars may become the second home of humankind, with entire cities built under protective domes. The Moon may serve as a mining hub for rare resources. Asteroids may be harvested for metals, providing Earth with materials beyond our current imagination. The dream of space travel, once limited to science fiction, will become the cornerstone of human expansion. Yet this expansion will also bring new dangers. Nations and corporations may clash over ownership of space territories. Wars in space, fought with advanced weapons, may not be unthinkable. The race for dominance beyond Earth could mirror the colonial rivalries of the past, but on a far larger scale. In the social sphere, human relationships will also transform. The rise of virtual reality and immersive digital environments will create a new type of life. People will spend more time in digital worlds than in physical ones. Virtual friendships, virtual families, even virtual nations may exist alongside physical reality. Some will argue that this is progress, while others will mourn the loss of traditional human interaction. Marriage, love, and even intimacy may take on new forms, blending the digital and the biological. The very concept of identity may blur, as people create multiple versions of themselves in different realities. Politics will remain a decisive force in shaping the next 100 years. The rivalry between superpowers like the United States and China will define the early decades. Emerging powers such as India, Brazil, and Nigeria will also rise, shifting the global balance. The question of whether the world moves toward unity or division will hang heavy. Some predict a global government, formed out of necessity to address climate change, pandemics, and space expansion. Others warn that nationalism and separatism will grow stronger, pulling the world apart. Cyber warfare, disinformation, and economic competition will replace traditional wars, but their impact may be just as destructive. Religions and philosophies will also evolve under the weight of scientific progress, as humanity explores genetic design, artificial intelligence, and space colonization. Traditional beliefs will be challenged. Some people will abandon religion, seeking meaning in technology and human progress. Others will hold even more tightly to their faiths, finding comfort in ancient traditions as the world changes around them. New spiritual movements may rise, blending science and philosophy into new forms of belief. The next 100 years will be a journey filled with both hope and danger. Humanity will have the power to cure diseases, extend life, save the planet, and reach the stars. But it will also face the temptation of power, the fear of inequality, and the shadow of destruction. The choices we make today will echo across the next century. The future is not a fixed destiny. It is a path shaped by human actions, dreams, and mistakes. As we look ahead, the image of the future is like a mirror. In it, we see our greatest potential and our greatest fears. Will we use our knowledge to create a golden age of peace and prosperity, or will we destroy ourselves with greed and arrogance? The answer lies not in the machines we build or the stars we reach, but in the hearts and minds of the people alive today. The next 100 years of our world will be nothing less than the greatest test humanity has ever faced. The march of the next 100 years will not be a straight line of progress. It will be a landscape of victories and struggles, of human courage and human flaws, of miracles and tragedies that will test the very fabric of civilization. The most fascinating and dangerous changes will appear when technology no longer feels like a tool but begins to resemble life itself. Machines will not only process information but also develop emotions, personalities, and creative abilities. The boundary between human and artificial will blur, raising questions that no philosopher or scientist has ever answered. If a machine can feel sadness or joy, if it can dream, paint, or write poetry, is it still a machine, or has it become something else? In the middle of the century, humanity may witness the rise of synthetic consciousness. Artificial beings that are not simply programmed but self-aware may walk among us. They may look human, speak like us, and even love like us. At first, they will be confined to specific roles: companions for the lonely, assistants for the elderly, or workers in industries that require endless patience. But slowly, as their intelligence deepens, they may demand rights. A debate will rage across the world. Should artificial beings have the same rights as humans? Should they be allowed to vote, to marry, to own property? Some societies may accept them as equals, while others may see them as threats to human dominance. Conflict between humans and artificial life may become one of the defining stories of the next 100 years. While technology advances, humanity's darker impulses will not disappear. War, though evolving in form, will remain a possibility. Traditional battles with tanks and soldiers may fade into history, replaced by invisible wars fought in cyberspace and the shadows of digital networks. Hackers backed by nations will have the power to bring down entire economies, shut off power grids, or manipulate the information that billions of people rely on every day. Truth itself may become the most valuable resource, and lies, carefully manufactured and spread, may destabilize entire governments. In such a world, the struggle for control of information will be as important as any battle fought with weapons. But weapons themselves will also transform. Militaries will develop hypersonic missiles that can strike across the globe in minutes. Swarms of drones controlled by artificial intelligence will fill the skies, capable of overwhelming any defense. Biological weapons, engineered with genetic tools, may be designed to target specific populations. The most terrifying prospect may be the rise of autonomous killing machines, robots that decide on their own who lives and who dies. If nations do not establish strict laws, such weapons could make wars faster, deadlier, and almost impossible to stop once unleashed. Yet amid this shadow, there may also be hope. The very technologies that make war so dangerous could also make it unnecessary. If global communication becomes transparent, if economies are deeply interconnected, nations may realize that cooperation is more profitable than conflict. The possibility of a world government, or at least powerful global unions, may emerge as a safeguard against destruction. The environment, meanwhile, will remain humanity's most unforgiving opponent. By the middle of the century, billions of people may face water shortages. Deserts will expand, swallowing farmland and forcing people to migrate. Coastal cities will build massive seawalls or relocate entirely. The struggle for survival may bring people together or tear them apart. Some nations may collapse under the weight of environmental disasters, while others will thrive by adapting quickly. Technology will offer solutions, such as machines that pull water from the air, genetic crops that survive in extreme heat, and carbon-capturing systems that suck greenhouse gases directly from the atmosphere. But every solution will come with costs, and the question will remain whether humanity can act in time. The next 100 years will not only reshape Earth, but also extend the reach of humanity beyond it. Mars may become the first planet colonized by humans, a symbol of both hope and risk. The settlers on Mars will not simply be pioneers, they will be the architects of a new society. They may develop their own culture, their own identity, and perhaps even a sense of independence from Earth. Conflicts between Earth governments and Martian settlers may one day echo the struggles of past colonial histories, except now the distance will be millions of kilometers. Other celestial bodies such as the moons of Jupiter and Saturn may also become outposts for exploration. Space will no longer be a dream but a stage for human destiny. Alongside colonization will come the race for resources. Asteroids rich in metals like platinum and gold may be mined, offering unimaginable wealth. Companies and governments will compete fiercely for control, sparking a new era of exploration that may resemble the old age of empires. Yet the stakes will be higher, for the vastness of space means mistakes could lead to catastrophic losses. The dream of interstellar travel will also grow stronger. Scientists will work on technologies that bend space, using concepts like wormholes or warp drives. While these may not be achieved within 100 years, the seeds will be planted. The human dream of reaching distant stars will begin to move from myth to science. But as humanity stretches outward, it must also look inward. The human mind, once limited by biology, will be transformed. Brain-computer interfaces will allow people to connect their thoughts directly to machines. Memories may be recorded, uploaded, and shared. Entire skills may be downloaded into the brain within seconds, bypassing years of learning. The implications are vast. Education as we know it may disappear, replaced by instant knowledge transfer. People may live in shared mental spaces, where communication is telepathic, where thoughts are experienced together. Yet such power will come with dangers. If minds can be connected, they can also be hacked. Privacy will no longer be about protecting homes or data, but about protecting the very thoughts inside one's head. This blurring of the digital and the biological will also transform identity. People may choose to live in multiple realities, some physical, others entirely digital. A person may have several versions of themselves, one in the real world, one in a virtual city, and one as an artificial avatar traveling through a simulated universe. The concept of self will expand, and with it, the definitions of relationships, family, and community. Some may find freedom in these choices, while others may feel lost, longing for the simplicity of earlier times. Philosophers will argue endlessly about what it means to be human in a world where the human condition itself can be rewritten. The global balance of power will continue to shift. The dominance of the United States and China will be challenged by rising powers. Africa, with its young population and vast resources, may emerge as a central player. Nations like India, Brazil, and Indonesia will rise as giants in their own right. Economic alliances will change, and new global currencies may replace old ones. Digital money, controlled by decentralized networks, may make traditional banks obsolete. Some countries may even abandon physical money entirely, moving to fully digital economies. This will empower some but also create new vulnerabilities, for whoever controls the networks will control the wealth of nations. Pandemics, like the one the world faced in the early 21st century, will remain a threat, but future outbreaks may be deadlier and spread faster. At the same time, medical technology will advance to counter them. Artificial intelligence may detect new viruses within hours, and vaccines may be created in days instead of years. Medicine will become personalized, tailored to the DNA of each individual. Nanotechnology, tiny machines operating inside the human body, may patrol our bloodstreams, repairing damage and fighting disease before symptoms even appear. Human health will reach levels unimaginable today, but new dangers may rise. The temptation to enhance the human body beyond natural limits will grow stronger. Superhuman strength, enhanced memory, and even artificial senses may become possible. Society will face a new divide between those who choose to remain natural and those who embrace enhancement. Culture and art will also evolve under these pressures. The fusion of human creativity with artificial intelligence will give rise to forms of art that no single mind could create. Music, literature, and visual art will blend human emotion with machine precision, producing experiences beyond imagination. Some will celebrate this as a golden age of culture, while others will see it as the death of human originality. Yet creativity, like survival, has always been at the heart of humanity, and it will find new ways to express itself. The next 100 years will be an age of choices. Choices about how we live, how we love, how we fight, and how we dream. Every invention will bring both hope and fear. Every step forward will carry the shadow of danger. The story of the future will not be written by machines or governments alone, but by the billions of people whose lives will shape and be shaped by the changes to come. And as the century unfolds, one question will grow louder. What comes after humanity? Will we remain the same beings who walked the earth thousands of years ago, or will we evolve into something entirely new? The seeds of that transformation are already being planted. The answers will come, not all at once, but through the daily struggles, discoveries, and choices of the generations yet to live. The story of the next 100 years cannot end with technology and politics alone. To imagine the true future of our world, we must look beyond the limits of Earth, beyond the boundaries of the human body, and even beyond the definition of humanity itself. If the first half of the century is about survival and adaptation, then the final half may be about transcendence. What happens when humanity no longer sees itself as bound by biology, geography, or even mortality? What happens when the very idea of being human evolves into something greater, something unrecognizable to the people of today? One of the most profound transformations may come from the pursuit of immortality. For thousands of years, humans have dreamed of escaping death, of finding a way to live forever. Religion promised it in heaven, legends spoke of it in hidden elixirs, but science may finally bring it within reach. Already, researchers are working on ways to reverse aging, regenerate organs, and repair DNA damage. Within the next 100 years, death itself may become optional. A person's body may be repaired endlessly with nanotechnology, their consciousness transferred to digital platforms, or even cloned into new biological shells. Some may choose to upload their minds into machines, living forever in virtual realities or robotic bodies. Others may merge with artificial intelligence, creating hybrid beings that are part human, part machine, and potentially immortal. But this gift may also be a curse. Immortality will not come cheaply, and the first to receive it will be the wealthy and powerful. The gap between the immortal elite and the mortal masses could tear societies apart. Imagine a world where rulers never die, where billionaires live for centuries, where dynasties last not for generations but for millennia. Revolutions may rise, fueled by the anger of those denied eternal life. Philosophers will ask whether immortality is truly life or whether it robs existence of its meaning. If life never ends, do love, sacrifice, and achievement still matter? The future may not only be a battle over resources or power, but over the very right to live forever. Even as humanity transforms itself, the universe may deliver its own surprises. For centuries, people have wondered whether we are alone in the cosmos. With the growth of space exploration and powerful telescopes, the answer may finally arrive. Humanity may discover microbial life on Mars or the icy moons of Jupiter. But more than microbes, the possibility of intelligent alien civilizations will haunt the imagination of the next century. Radio signals, strange structures in space, or direct contact may reveal that we are not alone. Such a discovery would shake every foundation of human belief, religion, science, philosophy, and politics. Some would celebrate seeing it as proof that life thrives across the universe. Others would panic, fearing invasion or annihilation. If intelligent aliens exist, the question will not only be whether they are friendly or hostile, but whether humanity is prepared to meet them as equals. A civilization thousands or millions of years more advanced than ours may look upon us the way we look upon insects. The power they wield could be beyond comprehension. And yet, the contact could also be the greatest gift, offering knowledge that leaps us forward by millennia. The danger and the hope of alien contact will hover over humanity as it spreads into space, reminding us that the universe is both vast and unknown. But even without aliens, humanity will begin to create civilizations of its own among the stars. Colonies on Mars and the Moon may be only the beginning. In time, entire space, habitats, vast rotating cities in orbit, artificial worlds floating in the void may become homes for millions. These new societies will not simply copy Earth. They may develop unique cultures, values, and identities shaped by their environment. A Martian born under a red sky may not think of themselves as Earth, as child, but as a citizen of Mars. A generation raised in a space habitat may view gravity itself as an old superstition. Over centuries, these differences may grow so great that the descendants of Earth's pioneers may no longer even consider themselves human. The possibility of human evolution into new forms will become more real with each decade. With genetic engineering, cybernetic implants, and digital consciousness, multiple versions of humanity may emerge. Some will remain close to the traditional human form. Others may enhance themselves into beings of extraordinary intelligence, strength, or longevity. Still others may abandon the body entirely, existing as pure data or energy. These groups may live side by side, or they may divide into entirely separate civilizations. The question of unity will never be more pressing. Will these future beings see themselves as one humanity, or will they fracture into new species? As the century closes, the achievements of science may reach levels that seem like magic to us today. Harnessing the full power of the sun with massive space structures, building cities that float in the skies of gas giants, or bending the very fabric of space-time for travel may become more than dreams. Humanity may learn to control energy at a cosmic scale, moving from a civilization dependent on Earth's resources to one that taps directly into the power of stars. Such a leap would place us among the rarest of civilizations in the universe, a species that has risen from the surface of a single planet to shape the cosmos itself. Yet, amid all this, the deepest questions will remain. What is the meaning of life when life itself can be endless? What is the soul in a world where consciousness can be copied and shared? What is love in a universe where partners can live together for centuries or exist in separate realities across galaxies? These questions may never be fully answered, but they will define the inner life of future generations. For all the power and knowledge humanity may gain, the need for meaning will remain eternal. There will also be the possibility of failure. The future is not guaranteed. Nuclear weapons, climate collapse, uncontrolled artificial intelligence, or devastating pandemics may destroy civilization before it reaches these heights. The next 100 years will be a test, and failure may mean extinction. Humanity may vanish, leaving behind only ruins and traces for other species to discover. The dream of the future may end, not with transcendence, but with silence. This shadow will hang over every step forward, reminding us that progress without wisdom is dangerous. But if humanity succeeds, if it survives its own flaws and embraces its own potential, the next 100 years may be remembered as the dawn of something greater. This era may be the moment when a fragile species of Earth becomes a civilization of the stars. When mortality is conquered, when knowledge expands beyond the limits of imagination. It may be the century when humanity begins not just to survive but to shape the destiny of the universe itself. In the end, the future is not a story already written. It is a canvas waiting for the choices of billions of people, each decision adding brushstrokes to the picture of tomorrow. The next 100 years will not be defined only by scientists, leaders, or machines, but by the collective will of humanity. Whether we rise or fall, whether we become gods or vanish into dust, depends on the actions of today. The question is not what the future holds, but what we are willing to create. As the century unfolds, one truth will remain. The universe is vast, mysterious, and filled with possibilities. Humanity stands at the edge of that infinite ocean, ready to step forward. The journey ahead may be filled with dangers, wonders, and challenges we cannot yet imagine. But it is a journey worth taking, for it is the journey that defines us. The future of our world is not just about the next 100 years. It is about the endless horizons that await beyond them.